Ramble Man coming at you. I'm already on the road. Today is a beautiful day, and as I always end up doing, I spent the morning inside when I really wanted to be out here. But now I'm out here. Well, anyhow, I have zero destination in mind because I need to take a phone call in a few hours, and I can do that from anywhere, but I want to be stopped. Anyhow, I have no destination in mind when I left the house, which I usually don't do that. I usually have some idea where I'm going to go. But it hit me while I was out here that I think I might ride up to Fredericksburg, Virginia, to the motorcycle shop up there. I think it's called Iron Cycles. So I'm kicking around the idea of buying a used Roadmaster, and I've only been on one twice, and I recall being super nervous the first time. I don't think I posted that video here, but I have it on video. It was the demo days, and it was in my early days of riding and in my early days of recording my rides. I don't think I even talked the whole time. I didn't narrate it. I just had the camera running. And you know, obviously it's a bigger bike than the Springfield, and the Springfield's bigger than my Super Chief, and the Super Chief is bigger than the Scout. So I feel like, you know, I'm kind of kicking around. I've got the Springfield set up for solo riding, and I thought I was going to have this be my 2-up bike, and you can convert it. It's just I don't want to go back and forth, but I'm kicking around getting that Roadmaster now. Some people had given me advice when I was considering the Springfield to just go ahead and buy the Roadmaster because you could take things off of it and it would look like a Springfield. But it's not true for the front. I mean, you can take the saddlebags off, you can take the rear trunk off, but not the fairing on the front and the big digital display thing on the Roadmaster. But I'm just kicking that around, and I thought I might go to the cycle shop. Their inventory online, they don't have any that I want, but you know, maybe I could just go sit on them, make sure I'm still comfortable thinking that way, that I might want to get one. And I also don't actually remember every turn that I've made. I think it'll come back to me, taking these back roads, about how to get there. I'm not going to stop and get the GPS out on that unless I need it. And in fact, there's a small chance I end up just playing the heck with it and just go somewhere else if I see something that catches my eye. My drone is unfortunately in the shop. I kept having some blurry footage, shaky footage, and just like motorcycles, I had some people tell me that was normal, and other people tell me that was a big problem. And based on my own experience flying it for a few years, it's not normal to me what I was seeing. And I had 1 month left in a 2-year service contract, and I had never used it, and because of the trade war with China and tariffs and all this stuff, they didn't have their normal express service where they'll send you the new one before they even get your current one back, and you get it like in 2 days or something. Nope, didn't have that. Instead, I got to mail it to them. They take a look at it. Typically, they don't fix yours. They send you a refurbished one. I assume refurbished and not new. And that's what I had, because one time this thing, I crashed, and they covered it for free, which they didn't have to do at that time. But But the unit I've been flying was that one. But anyhow, no drone to fly today, which kind of bums me out. I kind of like stopping and grabbing some of that footage. I am trying to sell my Super Chief, and I don't enjoy selling the used motorcycles. I sold the first one, the Scout, myself. I've sold multiple cars, you know, throughout our lifetime. I've sold a few cars used, and that was always a lot easier. Selling these motorcycles, it's like a niche audience that, you know, you gotta want somebody that wants your bike and your color with any mods that you've made to it. And it's harder to figure out a fair price. You know, the mods, you don't really get your money back. I think I priced my mods at like 40% of the value or 50%, and even then it's, you know, most people probably are just looking at, well, that bike is this much and that bike is this much, but you know, my bike's got a lot of accessories, but it doesn't matter. It's hard to get that money back. I had a bite from a couple that frankly I got a bad vibe from them. I thought they were trying to rip me off, so I didn't even meet them in person. It didn't make sense, the stuff they were saying. I think they had looked me up on the internet and found my home address because I had not given it to them, and they made a comment about it, and I just canceled the transaction. I said, yeah, never mind. And you'll be greeted with Smith & Wesson security if you show up. I haven't had many bites, you know. It's a well taken care of bike, and if I had more garage space, I would maybe just keep it. I'm thinking about building another garage, but I don't know. Everything's gotten so expensive. And I'm cheap. Not as cheap as my wife. My wife is super cheap. Super cheap limited. Compared to her, I'm just frugal. But we got tractors and ATVs and things, and if I had my druthers, these motorcycles wouldn't be parked where they are now. But you know, as they say, I hate this phrase, but first world problems. You live only once, so may as well make the most of it, right? Coming up on my right is the Beaver Dam Depot. This was prominent in the Civil War. Right here on my right. I've posted there a couple times with some photos. After the Civil War, after the surrender at Appomattox, that station was one of the places where they were giving out passes to the soldiers that were not at Appomattox. Passes to get them home safely without being taken prisoner. I can't remember if you had to pledge the oath or pledge to put down your arms and turn in your guns. I was reading about that not too long ago. It fascinated me to think about, like, okay, the war is over. Now what? You know, it's not like today you hop on an airplane and get back home. These guys, you know, many of them were scattered around Virginia and North Carolina. And it took a little while to get word to them that there had been a surrender. And then, you know, to safely get through the lines. And also, you know, it was a point of negotiation, or not much negotiation. The North was very generous, but in terms of letting the Southerners use the railroads to get home. This is why I hate coming here. Look at this left turn. That's the left turn I would take to get to the Indian dealer. Look at this mess. So there's Classic Iron Motorcycles. I've turned in right here before. Then you got to walk through the employee parking area. They don't let you test ride any bikes here, from what I recall. Well, no entrance right there. Assume they were open. Got to go in the way I was going to go in. All right, guys. Well, I went into Classic Iron Cycles, whatever this place is called. I was surprised they only had one Roadmaster. I thought when I had looked just last week, I guess they sold a few, because I could only find the one. And when I went back to their website, it was just the one. Doesn't matter. It was fun to walk around and look at all the bikes. I wish I have been on other motorcycles to compare to the Indian. I've been thinking about whether to rent, and it seems kind of odd to go into the dealers to ask to do a test ride. Do you guys do that? Do you go into dealers to test ride them? So far, I've never done that. So anyhow, they had a 2018 Roadmaster in red with a brown seat that looks like it's definitely seen some miles. I'm trying to get a 2020 in mind because that's when CarPlay became available. Whoa. That's when CarPlay became available. So anyhow, I would like to get a 2020 or newer Roadmaster because that's when they have Apple CarPlay, but you know, Indian doesn't sell that many bikes, so to find kind of the exact bike, year, not to mention color, you know, you either got to sacrifice one of those or you be willing to travel a bit. Now I can tell you there's two bikes I've seen that I would really like. They're the same color, same bike from Indian, but one's in Chandler, Arizona, and the other is somewhere in Pennsylvania, a rural part of Pennsylvania. So that one's obviously closer to me, but I think when I looked it up, it was about a 6.5 hour one-way drive. And I had this wild idea of either driving up there with my family member and I would ride the bike back, or fly up there, but it's rural, it's not a close airport, and then ride the bike back down and make a video out of it and have some fun with it. But I'm a little nervous about doing that because I'm afraid the bike wouldn't be street ready to go, like tires in particular or some other surprise. Whereas putting it on my trailer, I could bring it home. The one from Arizona I could pay to have shipped. What is this guy? And when I looked at doing that, it was around like $600 to $800. So the Indian dealer is down here on the right. You have to go in onto another road, and I just don't think I feel like dropping in there. It's not a very what's the word? Sociable environment, maybe that's the word. Fun was the word I was going to look for. It's kind of a cold experience every time I go in there. And I've not had good experiences interacting with them. I've talked about that in other videos. I don't even think I'm going to go in there. You know, maybe that's something I need to do, is schedule a ride out to the one in Newport News that everyone likes. One thing I will say about sitting back on that Roadmaster was the center of gravity was very similar to the current bike I'm on, which is a good thing. And my feet could touch the ground easily, which is a good thing. But I wanted to make sure that, you know, whatever bike I sat on wasn't, you know, didn't have a lowering kit on it or something, but there wasn't another Roadmaster for me to sit on. I had one of my close call videos that I shared that was shared on some other channels right here on this road in this stretch where, you know, I was caught where I couldn't pass, or I was about to pass somebody, and I was making a comment about how people in the left lane go to sleep sometimes and fail to see there's a car waiting to turn left onto one of these businesses where there's no middle lane. And that happened, and a car shot in front of me, because if they didn't, they would have rear-ended the car in front of them. I think it was right around here. Straighten up.